always, got about a 1 minute lag time with TikTok. So, hello. Finally here today. Yeah. I've always got gray hair because I only get like 2 weeks before it's grown that long. I have a lot of red hair. It grows really fast. But anyway, we'll get started here momentarily as soon as I see that TikTok is keeping up with my mouth. I have to look at my Facebook camera and my TikTok camera. There we go. I think we're in. Okay, we're going to start today with a double down. Probably going to start every day with a double down from now on. Yes, you're going to lose the election for us liberals if, like I was saying yesterday, if you confuse what matters to the moderates and the swing voters. If you think they care more about abortion than they do about guns, you're wrong. The deal is what I was saying yesterday. This is my double down to recap. Yes, lay off of gun rights for now. I am all for background checks and better laws all around. But right now, we have a presidential election coming up imminently. And the moderate vote largely votes moderate in swings based on if they're afraid they're going to lose their guns. There's a big chunk of them, at least. So that same moderate vote already is on board with abortion. They already, like, over 70% of Republicans support a woman's right to choice, despite the laws that are happening because of electoral college issues and gerrymandering issues and the way that the entire system is rigged. So we need more than just the popular vote in the typically blue states. We need the swing states. So the only way we're going to get the swing states is to lay the hell off of gun rights right now. I'm not a gun owner, but my husband owns guns and I use them. And in answer to my not friend anymore, evidently, from my small hometown, yeah, I really, really want to avoid any kind of war. And no, I'm not a revolutionary because I shoot guns. I've been doing that my whole life, actually, with a little hiatus in the middle because my dad died and my kids were younger, and he was the one we shot with. And before that, it was RTC. So I'm very happy to have personal protection, but I'm not like, ooh, I love guns. Guns are awesome. I mean, I do love to shoot because I find it fun to shoot targets. But no, nobody wants to shoot people. Nobody wants to go to war. I just fear for the country. That's not why exactly why I'm trading more, because Sweet Survivor rescues. We're working on rescuing victims of sexual assault. I do it personally, and I'm trying to expand and get you guys all in. We report to Thorn. We refer to RAINN. And we try to educate people who are childhood sexual assault survivors and sexual assault survivors how to manage their cPTSD in their life. But that's not this. That is my Surviving Spades program. This is where I get to vent. This is where I get to just be me, not an NLP. Me through the lens of an NLP, but also that of a goddamn woman, citizen, member of this society and this planet. And I am terrified about what's going on. So yeah, am I a revolutionary? Well, I gave that some thought, having been accused of it yesterday, and I'm like, well, I guess in the words of Steve Earle, pardon me, but it's like, I was walking down the street in the town where I was born, started moving to a beat that I'd never heard before. Then I opened up my eyes and I took a look around. Saw it written across the sky. The revolution starts now. Yeah. Yeah, the revolution starts now. Great song. Check it out. Sadly, the revolution, let's start it now. Let's start it without violence. Let's start the revolution with conscious thought about how we're going to vote. Let's approach this as an intellectual revolution and not just stand on our soapboxes of types of guns and types of magazines and all of this. Stand on our abortion soapboxes because they're on board. They're on board. They are not going to have their guns taken away. And do you want to answer to, Heil Trump, essentially? Because that's what he straight up says he's going to do. He says the president can't be prosecuted, but the first thing he's going to do is prosecute Joe Biden. I'm like, we all know the dichotomy in all of the statements. We all should realize that there's a genuine threat here. I reposted something I posted in 2019 today that said, put a picture of some scissors, little snips, and it said surgical snips. And I stand by this. If you're going to punish women with unwanted pregnancies from rape and incest, and even threaten their very lives for carrying children that are not viable to the point that they're about to die, because that's literally the law in many states now, and expanding all the time. If we're going to accept that, then I'm just glad I'm not of childbearing age, I guess. As much as I'd love to abandon the country sometimes, I'm not going to give it up that easily. So let's start an intellectual revolution. Let's start a mental revolution. Let's change the language of society. Okay? No, I'm sorry. Whoever you are trying to join live, I have guest hosts lined up, but I'm still getting used to this whole thing, the whole screen, the whole handling it. I've got Restream going here. I got me going here. I've got more to do than I can do right now. As we are growing and as my book nears, it's actually out for pre-order now, and our reach is growing, and I'm suddenly inundated to the point that I can't even communicate with people that are really trying to communicate with me. And all of this is coming together into a system now. Sweet Survivor is going to change the world. That's what we're going to do. And along those lines, would you please start a $5 subscription? $5. God, I give $5 to $15 a month, or 20 to all kinds of places, and it's just like, we can't go on. We can't grow. I do not charge for my cPTSD workshops, and I'm getting a lot of blowback, even from my publicist, on the workshop. And I'm like, no, I didn't have anyone to help me, and I wouldn't have had the money to seek them back then. I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to be the person that charges. So I'm asking you instead, because if you're like me, most of us can afford $5 a month. SweetSurvivor.com has a brand new subscription portal. So if you tried to use it before, please go back. Now it's all Shopify's own subscription portal instead of an outside app. They added their own, and it's much more functional. It never goes down. Super happy about that. It's never gone down yet, but we need your $5. I need your Fiverr, and I'm not ashamed to ask for it anymore. I used to be, but now I realize it's a pay-to-play world. You want to make a difference in the world. If I want to provide workshops, if I want to do these things, then I have to ask for your help. So please help. So, embryos, abortion, the 14th Amendment, guns. Yes, it all ties together. Let me bullet point this. If, according to the Supreme Court, individual states do not have the right to bar a presidential candidate from their ballot, then how the hell does the same Supreme Court say that individual citizens do not have this right in this country to the same health care, to the same abortion care, to the same laws regarding their own body? People are having to flee states because they're going to die if they don't get an abortion. And Texas won't allow it. I mean, this is insanity. And it used to be like we talked about this was going to maybe happen, but it's happened. And you're still sitting there and you're still not coughing up a five to try to help victims, much less go out there in the world and realize what's going on. And then you try to take the guns away from the liberals who are all that stands between you and an autocracy, a virtual dictatorship, a kingdom. Why would you give up the only thing you have? But at least if you're not interested in having guns, lay off the people that do. Because as I said yesterday, those of us like me, we who have trained our whole lives do not go out and shoot people. We do not present guns. You don't even know we have them on us. People who are like walking around open carry and whatever, it's like, oh, you're so cool. F you. Fuck you. Because you don't need to intimidate people. But you have a responsibility, if you are carrying, to know how to use it and to use it very well and to use it very judiciously. Not as a threat, but as a solution. And that almost never happens if we use our words. So let's get back to the top. Let's start a revolution of understanding within the Liberal Party. If that's not party, the liberal and progressive people, whatever their party. Let's clarify right now before the election. We can work on the gun stuff. Understand you're never going to get them out of their hands. It's never going to happen. I won't even give them mine. And not because I'm gun happy, but because I live here now in this country, in this place and time, with the news I see, I live in Kansas City. I just saw a shooting go down at the Kansas City rally. Yeah, that's the world we live in. So lay off so we can win this election, and then we can haggle about gun laws. And I'm all for tightening up how to get them. Absolutely. My son's a cop, almost. He's in school. He's in the police academy and a 4-year criminal justice program as a freshman. And he's going to join the academy first while he finishes up school. And on his first ride along, I was saying yesterday, he got shot at 6 times. And it was just like a fluke. It was a well check on a sexual assault victim. They were just well checking when they heard something going off in the alley. And he wasn't even supposed to be out of the car, but he couldn't help it. It was just a well check. This is the world we live in. I would rather be the one trained with the gun. So there's my double down. Yes, absolutely. Not radical, but no, you can't have my guns. And yes, you will lose the election for us if you don't focus on the one thing we all agree on, which is women's rights. Hopefully, most of us agree on others' rights too. But focus. 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 We have an election to win. Okay? And regarding what I said earlier about the things we feared before are now true, the things we feared in 2019 are now true. 2016. Let's do the math on embryos. So, if this wacko small bit of the Republican Party who has managed to gerrymander electoral college and Supreme Court justice their way into actual legal action, if they should win, what do you think they're going to do with all those embryos that are people? Do you think you're going to have the right to dispose of people? That's killing. That's murder. Now it's killing. Are you going to kill, in their words, your embryos? Is that what you're going to do? well, we're not going to let you, this is the red talking, we're not going to let you kill your embryos. Obviously, if you're not going to use them, we're going to take them and we're going to give them to surrogates. And who do you think the surrogates are going to be? Is anybody else seeing Handmaid's Tale kind of on the periphery of all of this? Is that the world you want to live in? A world where a lieutenant governor right now says women, he'd like to go back to when women didn't vote because things, like, we had a good society and it was nice and wonderful then. I'm like, for you, maybe, white man, redhead, old white man, but what about the rest of us? And just today I saw someone who I really respect usually. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want you to know, because I respect so much of what he does otherwise. Talking about the Amish. And he's from another country. And he was like, maybe we should get back to the simple way of life. Isn't this beautiful? I'm like, no, the rate of incest in Amish households is shocking. It never gets reported. It's tolerated. They just get shut and they can't go to church on Sunday, which is the only social occasion. There's horrifying things. He in this thing, he was saying, and they even let the kids go, right? They can even go and stay away if they want. They don't even have to stay in the community. It's like, yes. And if they do, they can't come back or communicate. He left that out. This is control. This is emotional control. If I thought I'd never see my sisters, my brothers, my mother, I probably hate my father at this point because I live in a fucking Amish community. So he could probably go to hell. But yeah, that's a lot to put on someone. So they go out in the world, they get the choice, they come back. Well, it's not slavery, but I'm not going to condone it. And another person, speaking of patriarchy around the world, the Maasai, traditional Maasai, who still trade daughters for cattle, goats. And I saw an interview by a woman who married a Maasai man, and she went out and interviewed 3 women on, I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a B, way out in the woods where they lived. And the wife number 1 said, when with a translator, when she was 14, she was crying because her dad gave her to this elder man for a 14-year-old, certainly, gave her, sold her, traded her for a cow. So she went off with him and had no friends. And she feels sorry for us. This all started with, she felt sorry for us that we don't have sister wives because she doesn't understand freedom, right? So the person glorifying this doesn't understand that within her context, it was wonderful to get another wife because now she doesn't have to take all the fucking of this old man by herself. Now they can make more babies to sell and trade. And she said that. She said both of them, her and wife number 2, were so happy when he brought home wife number 3. So a little more of the pounding gets taken. She didn't say that, but let's do the math. And they can all now have more chances of having daughters to trade for livestock. So that was her advantage of having sister wives, is that they could make her daughters to trade for livestock that came out of her mouth. And this is not very long ago. There are people in this world that are completely ignorant. And if you think it is okay to say, oh, it's just their culture, then you are handing the future of women in this world over to men. And I am not okay with that. Don't be okay with that. Women and others deserve equal existence in this world, not just in America. We don't even have it here. It's going away. Do you see that? Yeah, I'm upset. Yeah, you want to call me a radical? I'm not. I'm a normal human being who doesn't want to see the rights of me and my daughter-in-laws and my granddaughters and sons and others taken away. That is what I am. And I hope you will join. I hope you will join. But for now, at least, will you please start a $5 subscription to Sweet Survivor and help us continue the cPTSD workshops that are really helpful. And I begin again in April. First week of April, we go back to our spades workshops with no venting, lots of love. Okay. But, dude, I'm also human. I'll talk to you next week. Okay. Bye. Have a great weekend. I'm trying. This one never.